Hello guys and welcome back to Picture Astrology. This video is about Mars placement in 6th house for Pisces Ascendant. So when the Ascendant is the Pisces sign, which is the last and 12th sign of the zodiac, 6th house contains the sign Leo. So Mars would be in the sign of Leo. Now for the Pisces Ascendant, Mars is one of the most favorable planet because it is the lord of the 9th house because it has the Scorpio sign and the lord of 2nd house as this contains the Aries sign. In the 2nd as well as 8th, both of these houses are some of the most positive houses in the horoscope. 2nd house has to do with everything related to your money and family. 9th house is house of your luck, which you need for anything in life. So Mars is a very important planet. However, it is placed in the 6th house. Now 6th house has mostly negative connotations. So this placement really makes for a big mixed bag of goodies. There are some really fantastic results this placement gives, whereas there are also some areas of concern and some precautions which are required when you have this placement. So we will look into these specific predictions which could be made because of this placement in next few minutes. So let's begin understanding this firstly from the 9th house perspective, because Mars is the lord of the 9th house right here, which is the Scorpio sign. So 9th house, among many things, generally shows your luck, how lucky you are in your life. Many people in traditional astrology families say that this is actually the luck which you get from your father's side. Say like the inheritance you might get from your father's side, or the connections you get from your father's family side, etc. And it also shows your relationship with your father. And it is the house of social responsibility, how you behave in social world, how aware you are of the rules of society, etc. So Mars as lord of this very important house is in the 6th house. Now 6th house is one of the negative houses. However, from this position, Mars has a direct aspect on the 9th house, because according to Vedic astrology, Mars looks at the 4th house from itself. So as I said in the beginning, this is a tricky position to predict, and here is what it gives you. Number one, it gives a father who takes good care of the kids, and you generally get a lot of encouragement, a lot of care, a lot of support from your father throughout your life. And your luck also favors you in that sense, meaning you get some inheritance, or your father is a well-placed person, especially since it is Mars. Father is supposed to have good political connections, good social connections, which is going to benefit you, which is going to benefit your own luck because of great placement of your father in society. But these people generally don't care much about what other people think of them or what the society rules are. They are kind of path breakers, because as the lord of the 9th house, Mars is in a negative house. So they do get benefits of the 9th house like luck and good father, etc., because Mars is having an aspect on it. But they probably do not perform their own duty towards society, especially, which is obeying the law of the land. Not the law, I would say. This is more related to the general conventions of the society. They are the ones who would question everything. The social customs, things which are happening towards, maybe since hundreds of years, and they would be the first one to question it as to why should we follow the social rules. Now 9th house also signifies knowledge, and many times higher knowledge, especially the knowledge which you get from your experience, or not the knowledge which you just learn from books. And Mars aspect again on the ninth house shows that these people do have a lot of those practical knowledge, especially they learn very much from their father. They kind of get, what is called in many Eastern societies the family knowledge. There are knowledge and things which are taught from one generation to another, especially in business areas or in traditional families where they teach even things like astrology, which goes from one generation to another. And these people do tend to possess such knowledge which has been flowing in the family for long. But they also are, they're not going to be a model for society, because people consider whoever is knowledgeable would be like a model citizen for the society, who will lead by example of their own character. But because Mars is in a negative house, and from this 6th house it has a direct aspect on the 12th too. 12th is a house of expenditure, 12th is house of sensual pleasure, 12th is a house which shows that you don't care about society rule much, but you care about yourself. So this is what that tricky placement is, that you will have knowledge, you will be learning a lot from the society, you will give it back to the society also, but you will not behave like a model citizen, which everybody else would want you to behave. So you are not going to confine yourself to others' expectations. You will live your life. Nobody can stop you from doing that. This may not be the case when Mars is in the 9th house itself. Then the person tries to abide by the laws of society. These people, they want to break free. They want to make their own rules. Not that they become antisocial, but they want to define their life and live their life on their own terms. And this is a very peculiar property when Mars is placed in this way. Now let's talk about some of the 6th house related affairs, because Mars is actually placed in the 6th house. So the first thing which comes into mind when somebody talks about 6th house is that it's the house of your adversaries or enemies. Now Mars, a malefic planet by nature, placed in a fiery sign here, actually makes you win over all of your enemies. So that's not a problem. The only problem is you will have some enemies or some adversaries all the time, because Mars is lord of a very positive house. So whenever the lord of 9th house goes in any house, it increases the significations of that house. So because of the lordship of 9th house, the Mars will make you have some opposition, some enemies in workplace, etc. But because it's Mars, you will easily win over them. Now 6th house also shows house of police or law enforcement, or anything related to that. That could be lawyers or judges or courthouses. So any profession related to these kind of fields, these people generally excel well in. Especially, things like lawyer is very, very favorable, because lawyers need knowledge of law, and being the lord of 9th house, these people, as we discussed earlier, will be very knowledgeable, and law, etc. are very natural fields for it. And lawyers can bend the rules without breaking them. We did saw earlier that how these people, they would be knowledgeable but may not always be the model citizen. And lawyers, well, no offense for anybody, but they represent that in many ways. Similarly, some surgeons, good surgeons who can perform surgeries are also shown by this placement. Now let's talk about medical issues. Sixth house also shows the problem in your bodies which can happen. Now, first thing is excess of heat. Mars in a fiery sign can, make you suffer from some boils in the body or rashes because of excess heat. One common thing though is stone. Kidney stone is very common with this kind of placement because Mars also shows stones. It is the natural significator or kark of stones. So please be careful. Don't eat stuff which increases calcium in your body because that can turn into stone. And Mars is again not only stone but primary kark of calcium as well. And Mars also shows blood. So blood pressure, and many times headache is also a common ailment. And headache because Mars has an 8th aspect as well. So with his 8th aspect, Mars will be looking directly at the Lagna or the ascendant, which shows your whole body and more particularly your head. So blood pressure is also sometimes seen with this kind of placement. So I think I'll stop with this. This was my quick analysis of placement of Mars in the 6th house, which is the house of Leo for a Pisces Ascendant horoscope. As we saw, it is a mixed bag. It is one of the difficult position to clearly predict, but I've tried to kind of, blend all those elements of positive and negative and show to you, how you can predict. I hope you liked it. Please do like and subscribe to my channel for more such videos.